Hello and happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. This is day 2 of your story time and activity time with Mrs. Barber. And I heard back from many of you yesterday. I heard that you were making puzzles and you were taking good care of your families. And some of you are even reading and writing on the very first day off. I spent time with my family and I did some reading too, a little bit of drawing. Rose did a lot of drawing and Russell was playing some guitar right now. So this is my daily message. Just want to say hello and happy St. Patrick's Day. At the end, if you want to pause this video, we're going to make our own leprechaun traps together. And I have collected some of Rose's toys. She collected some things and some tape, a pair of scissors. It's always good for a craft. Some old paper that we had around and some chocolates because you know those sneaky leprechauns, they love their gold. But I've also heard they love their candy. Even when the wrappers are empty, you can trick them with some treats. So today's story is called Jamie O'Rourke and the Big Potato. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to tell you. Mrs. Barber, that's me. I am part Irish. My grandfather was from Ireland, and I've taken my family to Ireland. So today's lesson is especially fun for me. And I got to meet the author of this book one time, Tommy DePaola, who's actually Italian. But he wrote this really great book, Jamie O'Rourke and the Big Potato. My favorite part is the illustrations. I'm going to try an Irish accent today. Don't judge too harshly because my grandfather did not teach me how to do an Irish accent. So I'll just do my best, and sometimes it gets a little silly. But all we can do is do our best like you're doing right now, listening to your family, making staying inside fun, and looking forward to tomorrow's trapping of a leprechaun. I think we're going to do it together. Jamie O'Rourke and the Big Potato, an Irish folk tale. Jamie O'Rourke was the laziest man in all of Ireland. He would do anything to avoid working, especially if it had to do with growing potatoes. Jamie O'Rourke, his wife Eileen would say, "will have nothing to eat this winter if you don't go out and dig up the praties." "Oh, saints preserve us," Jamie would whine. "Me back's as sore as can be. Sure as I'm telling you, wife, you'll have to dig them up yourself. I'll break in two if I so much as get up out of this bed." So Eileen, who had done all the planting and the watering and the weeding anyhow, would go out to the tiny garden and dig up the smallest potatoes in Ireland, all because Jamie was too lazy to dig a larger garden and had no money to buy good potato seed. Then poor Eileen wrenched her back and was laid up in bed. "Saint Bridget and the Virgin Mary herself would have smiled on our Eileen O'Rourke," the village women said. "Why, it's the first rest she's had since she married Jamie O'Rourke." With Eileen in bed, Jamie began to worry. No Eileen to dig up meant no praties all winter, and no praties meant no food. "Oh, poor me," wailed Jamie. "I'll starve to death. I best be going to church and confess to Father O'Malley. There's no telling how soon old death will be knocking on me door." So even though it was midnight, Jamie set out for the church. He was about halfway down the hill when he heard singing and a tap, tap, tapping sound. You know what that is? "Sure, and I wouldn't be knowing," Jamie whispered. "But I swear it's a leprechaun." And sure enough, sitting in a circle of ferns in the moonlight was a leprechaun, singing and hammering tiny nails into the heels of the fairy boots he was making. Jamie knew just what to do. He crept up and grabbed the little man by his coattails and held firm. "Let me go! Let me go!" the leprechaun shouted. "Not on your life," Jamie said. "Not until you show me where you keep your pot of gold." Now, everyone in Ireland knows that leprechauns make boots and dancing shoes for the fairies who pay them with gold. And everyone knows that if you catch a leprechaun, he'll pay for his freedom with his pot of gold. But this leprechaun was cleverer than most. "Oh, please, Mr. Mortal Man," he pleaded. "I'm just starting out making fairy shoes, and I only have 1 or 2 pieces of gold in my pot. Won't you make a wish instead?" "Why, what would I wish for?" Jamie asked. "Me, who's about to die of starvation because my wife is sick in bed and can't dig praties for the winter, and they're such puny praties anyhow." "Well," said the leprechaun, reaching into his pocket, "you could wish for the biggest pratie in the world. It would last all winter, and you wouldn't have to do anything more than plant this seed, water it, and wait." That sounded wonderful to Jamie. "Done!" he shouted. And as the leprechaun dropped the seed into Jamie's hand, Jamie let go of his coattails, and off that leprechaun scampered. When Eileen heard what he had done, she was furious. "Jamie O'Rourke, you're not only the laziest man in Ireland, but a fool as well, giving up a pot of gold for a pratie seed." "Well, I'm going to plant this seed and water it, and you'll see," Jamie said, and out he went. And faith, Eileen did see, in no time at all, the biggest, finest potato plant had sprouted out of the ground, followed by the potato itself. It was so big, it pushed up not only all the dirt in the garden, but the garden shed and the corner of the cottage as well. "Well, surely now it's ready to dig," Jamie said proudly. He hoed all around it, but he couldn't dig that pratie out of the ground. He got a beam and a big rock and tried to pry it out. He pushed and he pushed, but it wouldn't budge. As he was pondering what to do, his neighbors passed by on his way to the village. He couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't wait to tell everyone in the village what he had seen. And before you knew it, the hill up to Jamie's was filled with villagers coming to see the big potato. "Where did it come from?" they asked. Jamie told them about the lucky night he had caught the leprechaun and how smart he had been. "Why, anyone could have gotten a pot of gold," he bragged. "But the biggest pratie in the world, well, that took some doing." "However did you outsmart the leprechaun?" they all asked at once. Jamie hesitated and scratched his head. "We'll help you dig up your pratie, Jamie, if you'll tell us how you did it." And they grabbed shovels and hoes and started to dig. They dug, and they dug, and they pushed, and they shoved, until the potato flew out of its hole. It rolled down the hill faster and faster until it reached the bottom, where it bounced up high and came to a stop, wedged between the stone walls on either side of the road. What to do now? "That pratie is so big that no one, no cart, nothing can get by it," the constable explained to Father O'Malley. "How's a body to get out of the village?" "What shall we do?" the villagers wailed. Then they all looked at Jamie and said, "It's your pratie. You'll have to move it out of the way." "Well," Eileen spoke up, "there's more than enough pratie for everyone. Why don't you all take some?" So the villagers sawed and chopped and carted off huge pieces of potato while Jamie sat on the stone wall and watched. All winter long, everyone had potato to eat and eat and eat until no one wanted to see or hear potato again. In the spring, Jamie said, "I saved a potato eye for a seed, and it's just about time to plant it." "Oh, no!" the villagers all cried. "If you promise not to plant it, Jamie, we'll promise before St. Patrick and all the saints to see that you and Eileen always have plenty to cook and eat. We don't want another giant pratie around here." Jamie smiled and agreed. What a perfect life for a lazy man. "And so you see, darling Eileen," Jamie told her, "I wasn't such a fool with that leprechaun after all." And Eileen had to admit that Jamie O'Rourke was right. There he is. I like today's story because it makes me think about sharing and the things that we have around our house, and it's going to be a little bit strange to see some of the same toys for a few days, and you're going to have to get creative and we're going to get creative in just a few minutes after Rose and I tell you some St. Patrick's Day jokes.
Hello.
So we have prepared a few for you, and after that we'll make our trap and we'll hope to catch those naughty leprechauns. Hey Rose,
Yeah?
why are friends like a four-leaf clover?
Because they're hard to find and lucky to have.
Hey Rose, why do leprechauns recycle?
They like to go green.
Hey, what do you call a fake Irish stone?
A shamrock.
Why do frogs like St. Patrick's Day?
Because they're always wearing green.
This one's my favorite.
Ah.
Why did the leprechaun cross the road?
To get to the pot of gold.
Ah, that was a good one. That was my favorite of the day.
Yeah.
So, Rose has a lot of toys like you might have in your house, and we found an old one today, and we're going to turn it into a sneaky trap. But we're not going to be too loud about it or the leprechauns will hear us because I think they're already around
Yeah.
looking for treasures. This is Rose's toy. You might have a toy, you might have a shoebox, you might have a lot of different things, and we are going to turn it into a trap. It's Rose's idea. So what are you going to add? I think I'm going to cut some shamrocks. I've got some paper.
Nice green.
What are you going to add?
To this?
Yeah.
Huh, yeah, that's
I
a nice
folded it.
decorations. And they'll really notice it, of course.
Folding it twice. Let's see, how can I turn that into a shamrock? I think if I cut this shape, let's see. What if I get two funny, goofy things? Oh, that's not very good. I think.
You need to curve it right there. I think you need. I hope I'm right.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's just perfect. I'm
Right.
going to hide it here. So.
They see. You can put it. I don't know.
That's all right.
Okay, it's like a sofa.
It's a sofa, shamrock sofa. Why don't you put some of your ideas in? I'm going to stick some tape on this slide. I'm going to stick some clear tape because I'm going to put a big treasure at the end. And I think I'm going to get, the leprechaun's going to get stuck in the tape.
Yes. Sticky
Tape circles.
They're going to go down the slide and then going to get stuck in the tape.
Shh, you're too loud. You're going to let them know our secrets.
Oh, no.
Okay, here's my treasure.
Yes.
It's a box of chocolate from you guys earlier.
Gold.
And this Christmas, this holiday decoration we made at the party. So I think I'm gonna put that over here too, make it look tempting. What are you gonna add, Rose? I called you Rode.
Yes, Road.
Where are you gonna put those?
I'm going to put this in right here.
Okay.
So they're like, oh, that's really chocolate. Yes, can't forget tape right there.
Stick some tape.
And then I'm gonna put some right here. So
And they're just gonna sit on the sofa and think, oh, this is a nice little playground just for me.
Put some up here. Gold. Nice. Tempting. And then I'm gonna put some up here.
All right, I'm gonna leave this overnight and I'm gonna see what happens in the morning. Let's check back in tomorrow again for another story and to see if we've caught any leprechauns. I hope you make a trap at home too and let me know how it goes. Good night, everybody. Sweet dreams.